I forget the order.
Season 4, episode 2. Honestly, this doesn't even matter anymore.
We're still doing it.
Okay. Season 4, episode 2. Welcome
to
the Energy and Heart podcast,
hosted by
Jiggy
and Steph.
Your outfit's cute.
Thank you. I thought so too. I usually don't feel that way, but I really do today.
Oh, I almost wore the same colors.
We're besties.
That would have been really gay though. I'm kind of glad. Sometimes I'm like, I wear too much black, but then I'm like, I think I prefer wearing all black over us matching.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm there yet.
like the other day, like when we were sitting next to each other at the table. It was too close for your comfort.
Oh.
Watching the sunset.
Oh,
as
yeah.
we were eating.
Yeah.
I see. We haven't gone there in our friendship yet. But we'll get there. I trust us.
Yeah.
You know, I actually was meaning to tell you this, but like the other day when we were at LA River Fest, you were like sitting there and I was like, I really want to give her a hug right now. But I think if I did, it would shock her. So I'm going to not do that. I'm just going to tell her I thought about it and ease her into this part of the friendship.
Dude, there's a picture of us from her birthday party. It was like a group photo. I don't know what got into her head. She tried to hold my hand. No, I was like,
okay,
what are you doing?
To hold hands.
Who said?
The girls, like Jamie and Carrie.
Okay, well, obviously, of course, Jamie.
I mean,
the gay lord. Of course, Jamie wants us holding hands.
You know what? Speaking to the last episode, if you died tomorrow, would you be sad that we didn't?
No, I wouldn't. No, okay, hug maybe, okay, but holding hands.
Okay, okay. Friends hold hands.
And you know, when I came out to my mom, and I was like, I kind of like girls, she was like, well, that's okay because when I was a child, like I used to hold my girlfriend's hands too. And I'm like, I feel like this is more than two friends holding hands. Because like in Korea, friends hold hands a lot. Yeah. It's like a normal thing. But one, we're not in Korea.
I'm going to petition.
2,
normalize holding hands with friends.
Even if it was normal, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. Even if it was normalized, I don't want to hold anybody's hand.
Oh, okay. I see. I do see what you're saying.
Anyways.
I won't ever hold your hand.
Unless, okay, this is getting dark, but like, unless I'm dying in my deathbed or something.
Then you want me to hold
Then you can hold my hand.
Remind you at your deathbed. You didn't let me hold
and I'm going to be like, no. We're not there yet.
Maybe in the next lifetime.
Yeah, maybe. Today's episode is inspired by
this game called Crowdsourced.
Let's go.
By our friend Nia.
New character.
She has been working on creating this card game for a while, and it's meant to create connection among people. So we all played the game. So me, Jiggy, Kato, Nia, and her partner Mondi all met up and we played this game. It was really fun. And so one of the questions that we got asked, we're gonna actually answer it here because we thought it was really connecting.
Yeah, I'm gonna fix my mic real quick. Even though you told me to put it away, I'm like, okay. I feel myself leaning anyway. These questions were great. Like, we've definitely played plentiful of card games and questions games and stuff, and like RBTL is based off of questions. Yeah. But what I really love about
Nia's questions
is that it's not just like a yes or no question or like, oh, this is it questions, but it's just like, that is it and why or how, and it just kind of goes into the depth of the answers. And I just thought it was
there's
dope.
Like layers I think baked into the way that the question is asked, and so that's really fun.
We love layers.
Yeah, we love a lot of layers. So
Like turtle chips.
that was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I like turtle chips.
I'm just really hungry right now, but
Okay, so the question is, what's the biggest sacrifice you've made for your career? Damn.
so everybody take time to think. Wow, look at you go.
It's like I did 4 seasons of this.
Okay, one more time. What was it again?
Oh,
Oh my god, bruh.
I'm really literal. Sorry. What's the biggest?
Wow.
What's the biggest sacrifice you made for your career?
What's the biggest sacrifice I've made for my career?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this question's coming up because we actually played this. Like it was a question for me.
You, yeah.
When we were playing. And I found myself like knee-jerk answering and saying like, oh yeah, financial stability, like the consistent income, the security, right? But then I was sitting with it and I was like, wait, let me slow down. Shout outs to episode 1. But let me slow down. And I just kind of felt like that answer was like one slice of the entire orange. Like I just felt like there was so much more and I needed time to grasp maybe I don't know the size of the sacrifice. That was that the question? What is the biggest sacrifice? And so I think that like that may be part of it, but does my heart really care about that? Is that what sacrifice is to me? And when I sat with that, the answer actually came out to be no. And because the way that I was like processing my reflection was like sacrifice and hard work and like persistence and perseverance and challenges have all been naturally a part of my life that I don't even mind sacrifice. Like I don't even mind financial sacrifice because it has been a part of my life all along. Mm-hmm. I don't know what like this grand abundance of financial success like looks like or feels like because so much of my past life has so much to do with constant loss. My story includes like losing everything that I own to fire in 1 hour, and that does so much to it's trauma. Like it's then becomes scarcity mindset, and like I was always working hard and underpaid, but to me like working hard was more important than making money out of it. And I always have to like used to have to argue and fight for a raise and a promotion versus like knowing that I'm earning and deserving of it. Like financial sacrifice, like it didn't like financial instability or inconsistency, like these things didn't feel like sacrifice to me because it was such a huge part of my life. So then I sat with it and I was like, then what really is the sacrifice? And sacrifice is almost like my heart grieving for what could have been. And to me, the answer came out to be what my life could have been. And the fact that my life could have been easy. The fact that my life could have been easier, simpler. And I know that all these like podcasts are like, you don't want a life that's easy. You want challenges. And listen, MFR, like, I don't. I've lived so much trauma. I need a break. And like what I'm learning about rest and continuing to understand that and continuing to understand what does abundance mean and what does it mean for God to really to rest in God and stuff like that. What does that actually mean? And it's like I'm so okay with hardship and I'm so understanding of the fact that it's a part of the process, and I'm so okay with that and so accepting of that because it comes so naturally to me. You know what's hard for me is ease. What's hard for me is peace and understanding that the truth of the matter is that if you look for ease and peace, not everything has to be so hard. We choose hard, and that's crazy. We got all these like hustle culture and everybody telling us that like it's supposed to be hard, and it is. Like some things in life, it will be hard, but it doesn't mean that we have to go through it alone. It doesn't mean that we have to we can crowdsource, towards success, whatever that means.
Okay.
And this is what I always say about like the lone wolf and the self-made stuff. Like you don't have to do it alone. Just because they say it does not mean that it's the only way to live. It does not mean that it's the only way to succeed. And so when I said about sacrifice, and I was like, you know what? I think that what makes me so sad right now is the fact that like I could have lived an easier life with financial consistency and security, with health insurance and a great one perhaps, with the 401ks and all of this and the stocks. Like I could have lived that life, and I'm not downplaying y'all who live that life, and I don't want y'all to be like, oh Jiggy, you don't know, like it is, my life is hard and I get all those things, but it doesn't mean that my life isn't hard. Like it doesn't mean that it's easy. I'm not, shut up and sit down, like relax. That's not what I'm not saying your life is easy, but I'm just saying like these are things that could have been taken care of for me, and I chose a path of entrepreneurship where like we might not have the funds to have the greatest health insurance for a while, and I have a chronic illness. Like it would be great if I had great health insurance. Financial consistency, like that does bring a huge amount of ease to the brain to be able to like, at least that's one less thing to worry about, and when it comes to like decision making, knowing that that's something consistently coming in, like maybe then I would have been able to put that energy into other decision making. Like that's kind of what I'm saying. Like it's just one less thing that I could worry about, but at the same time, it's just, you might think that it's not a big deal because it's been a part of your life, but it hasn't been a part of mine. And so for me, it is a big deal. And so for me, all of that package combined, living an easier life could have been accessible. And because I couldn't fathom the life of living an easier life, like I don't want to say easier life, a life with more ease, because I couldn't even fathom that even exists or is possible. I consciously, voluntarily made decisions to choose this route. But the thing is that even if I choose this route, it does not mean that it has to be hard. Mm-hmm. I thought it had to be hard because that's what all the hustle culture entrepreneurs are saying. But now I'm in a season where even if I do choose this route, I'm still able to make decisions that can bring me more ease and peace. But the sacrifice at the end of the day wasn't just like financial stability, but it's just like what that can bring. And it's just a life with ease, headspace, less worry, less stress, quality of life, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I think the fact that you can even see past that it wasn't just financial instability, but there's this bigger overarching theme of what has been missing for you or what could have been for you is the fact that you are shifting into something else, right? I think that for a long time, I mean, you can go back to past episodes and you'll see us justifying the life that we chose. And I think for you, like what I hear is just like, your exposure to things like just so early on in your life was always just like hard things, like traumatic things, like, and it just becomes second nature to almost like just be okay and accept that as the status quo. And I think it's such a beautiful thing to see you now, like, okay, actually I'm really seeing how other people are living. I'm really taking that in, and I'm going to change and shift what is available, like, for me. And I think that that's such a big deal, because I think when you are steeped into that type of thinking for so long, like, it's easy to keep going. Like, that way it's easy to not question. Like, that's just the way it is. Life is just supposed to be hard. Like, that's just how it is. That's what everyone's saying, right? But I think, like, you are really, and this is like such a big deal because like I've seen you go through a lot of hardship even in the chapter that I was in, like your life. And just seeing you like invite that in like more and more, because in past seasons you would say it and you would, but then you weren't like embodying it.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of knew it and then you weren't like necessarily accepting the help. You were kind of like skirting around, like, you know, letting people in on like what you're experiencing, like even with me, you know. But nowadays I feel like we're so much more open. Like you're so much more open about, hey, this is actually what I'm actually kind of working through, and you're like more open to actually like receiving, which means that it's actually being integrated, versus just like, oh, that's just like what I think, or like you actually believe it more than I feel like you have before.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, y'all need to understand that like the reason why financial stability is like not a sacrifice for me, it's not because money doesn't mean anything to me. It's the fact that you gotta understand, like, I know how to survive off of like $5-10. Like, you gotta understand that I have been put in a position at a very young age where my brain was still developing, like 17 years old. I learned how to survive with nothing. Like, everything was taken away from me, not by as consequences of my actions, but because of some dummy who lit a fire where he wasn't supposed to, and everything just disappeared. And like, to survive, I had to figure out how to survive. And I'm really good at surviving. I am so good. You stuck on an island and you gotta pick one person to survive. I'm the one. I'm so resourceful. And like, even, you know, when I had to start living in like basements and stuff, like I used to go grocery shopping at the dollar store. Like, I know how to survive really well. And because I know I can survive with just $10, my brain's like, then why do I need more? Because my brain is so used to survival mode, and it's like, you survived for this long, we still made it, so
we keep going.
Why ask for help? You made it this far without asking for help. You made it to California. Like, help for what? More money for what? Resources for what? Health insurance? Great health insurance for what? You haven't died yet. Like, all of these things. And so I think that it's such a big reflection of like scarcity mindset, and this is truly like what scarcity mindset is. And that's just my honest truth. Like, that's truly how my brain works. And it's not, I think when people think scarcity mindset, they think it's just like spending money, but that's not even it. I'm not one of those, I'm the one holding myself back. Like, I'm not one of those people who like crap money away and don't have self-control and just like buy whatever I want to. I'm not that. I was never even in a position to buy anything I wanted in the first place. So why would I think that I need that now? Why would I think that I'm deserving of a life where I can have abundance and just like buy whatever I want to? I survived this long without gifting myself anything, or not very much. Why would I need that kind of life now? So that's where I'm starting from. Like, y'all need to understand like my scarcity mindset, and like, it's not just about money. It's just like everything in life. I'm so good at surviving, and now I'm like shifting from, and it's such a long journey. Like, I've been at it for years now, and it's just like the understanding, the fathoming, the concept. Like, it's not just money, it's help, it's friendship, it's community, it's so many things. But like, abundance isn't just about money. But yeah, just that's that's why I'm saying that financial stability and stuff didn't feel like a sacrifice for me, because
It's the norm.
yeah, it's like, yeah, I don't know. That's just how I am.
Well,
But
I would
moving away from it.
Yeah, I would love to know, you know, you said if you want to survive, like, I'm the number one at this, right? Like, if you think about like the next decade, like, what do you want to be like the number one at, like, in this next like chapter?
Okay, so funny. That's a great question because, okay, recently I started thinking in like a more long term way. I used to think like I'm already way past the age that I thought I would make it to. So I'm still alive. Wow. Okay, then like let's play around with this. Let's play around with my imagination and say that. Let's say I end up living another 10 years or 5 years. What does that look like? And this is like probably the first time that I really started to think that way. And all of these like possibilities started to really gain into my dreams and my vision. And now, like, taking more certain goals more seriously and stuff. And what is the thing that I want to be number one at for the next decade?
You can take your time. Pause.
I don't know if like being number one at something is quite what's landing for me, but I think what's most important for me is that like I want to take back my life. Like I feel like because the past 30 years I've lived in so much trauma, I am ready to like shed those limit the outcome of those traumas. I'm ready to like release them and go into the next 10 years just like living my life on my terms, it, under the conditions that I'm creating for myself. Because I also forgive myself and understand that like, and I also like, I feel so sorry for my younger self that like she's been in the circumstances and the positions that she's been in that is like so out of her control. And that's honestly so unfair. And like the traumas that have come out of it that has resulted in like limited mind mentality and mindset and resources, all of those things, like those were the results. So I don't fault myself for the position that I may be in now as a result of those traumas. However, I'm grown now and I got community and resources now. And if I were to take ownership of, hey, let's just give this life thing a try for 10 years. Let's like show little Jiggy that life can be beautiful and wonderful. It doesn't have to be this thing full of trauma. And you can do all the things that you want, like jet skiing from Long Beach to Catalina Island.
I got the memo.
What does that look like? And I'm finally at a point where I'm just like, I no longer want to waste any ounce of my life anymore. Like, I know motivational videos always say that, the gurus, the boo-boos always say that, but it's like, you gotta live for the moment and make the most out of your life. And I was always kind of like, or also like when they sell nutritious vitamins or something, they're always like, oh, it'll help, like taking this consistently will help you live another whatever years. And I'm like, I don't want to live that long. Like I don't care about, like, my friends always care more about my safety than I do my own safety. I'm like always down for something. They're like, no, Jiggy, stay safe. I'm like, why? I don't care. But we're not getting to a dark place. I'm just saying. But like, if I were to be able to live another decade, then yeah, I'm finally at a place where I'm just like, I want to make the most out of it. And that means doing everything and anything that I've ever wanted, going after everything that I've wanted. And sometimes, like, believe it or not, even I hold myself back out of, like, not fear, but, like, oh, no, that's too good to be true kind of thing. That's not going to happen kind of thing. Even I go through that sometimes, and I'm just like, listen, if I've lived this long and God allowed me to stay for this long, that means that the job ain't finished. That means that I'm still here for a reason. So next 10 years, what am I gonna be number one at? Just living my best life.
I love that. I'll hold you to it.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean, I want to like reflect back to what we said in this previous episode. Like for me, like living my best life does not mean like the whole Instagram and TikTok real stuff where living my best life means I'm on a jet ski and then I'm drinking a martini and then I'm out with my friends or watching the sunset all romantic. It's just like, no, living my best life means like every single moment. It doesn't have to be the romantic sunsets. It doesn't have to be a luxurious vacation somewhere. That's not, to me, living my best life means like literally enjoying every single moment, even if it's just this. Like this is huge to me. I'm having a great time.
Me too.
So yeah. I hope that's helpful to somebody out there.
I'm sure it is. I feel like a lot of like I think there's a wisdom in the way that you're speaking about it now that was not necessarily present in past seasons. There's a different kind of wisdom here that's, you know, it's like it was beyond the like I want to make tons of money or I want to like you know, there's just you can have those things. But what does it matter even if you have those things if you're not present?
Yeah.
Right. And so I think there's a difference in what you're saying from before.
Yeah. Also, I think you can tell from looking at our past seasons, like in our faces, you can just tell each season, like we were probably going through something.
Because
you can tell in our faces.
Yeah, because we were CEOs. Who calls an entire season CEOs? Like, unless you were going through some shit.
Man, I started that with like I thought it was a clever idea. Then it turned out to be like a really huge reality check for the both of us.
Yeah. That's how it usually starts.
Yeah. Did you want to answer the question too?
Yeah.
I'm really curious.
I can answer that. What's the biggest sacrifice I've made for my career? Mental health. Yeah. Life didn't have to be that hard. Life really didn't have to be that hard. I think in mental health there's also like sacrificing play. I could have had fun this whole time.
Oh.
But I didn't.
Oh my God.
You want to take a moment?
I'm so sad.
Yeah. And you spoke to it in the last season. Like, I take shit very seriously. Yeah. And it's like too serious. Like, I would have been serious all the way to the fucking grave.
Yeah.
Like, you know. Now I'm just like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, you know, in my lifetime, like as a as a young teenager, like I've always been that friend that people go to talk to and they need a listening ear, and I was always that person. So I think from a young age I was exposed to a lot of just like realities, I think, of other people's lives that I didn't necessarily experience. So like yeah, mental health challenges that people have, like situations with their parents, like the whole shebang. Like I've heard all of it. I didn't necessarily experience it. And I think it like when I look back at the last 4.5 years of like doing this entrepreneurship stuff, like the distinct moments that I remember aren't even like my wins. Like I don't remember that, and maybe that's to a fault of like not celebrating myself enough, all that. Like I'm sure there's a layer of that, but what I remember is the first time that I could not get out of bed. Like, and I've never experienced that in my life before. And so it's like, in what world did it all of a sudden become okay and normalized for me who didn't experience this before? All of a sudden that was okay. All of a sudden, like, you know, like being in the shower and like falling over basically, like in the shower, like when did that become a normal response to something? Like when did it become normal that you just wake up, have vertigo, and lose your hearing and haha, like let's just keep going? When did that all become normal? Right? And so there's something to be said, I think, about like how we care for ourselves throughout this process. And I think that's why there's so much grieving, like per the last episode that we were talking about. Like That's why, because you're grieving. Like, these are things that I like kept choosing, like you said, to move towards. It was like a badge of honor. It was like, I worked so hard that like got myself sick, or like, and these aren't and the thing is, like, it's not like I am consciously like, hey, this is a badge of honor. It's just more like, of course that's part of the process, like you got to work yourself like really, really hard. That's just part of the process, and somehow it's been internalized, and somehow it's like, it's crazy because you like get yourself into that hole. And I think I'm that person that like, fatal flaw, but that person's just like, well, I want to see for myself. Why would I believe somebody who says like, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be that hard and you can play throughout? Like, why would I believe that? Like, I got to see it for me. I got to see it to believe it, I think, is like part of like what's hard for me. Like, unless I'm like feeling it and sensing it in my body, then I don't necessarily take people's advice. And so I think that is my biggest like sacrifice. And luckily, I think I feel very lucky to be able to say that, like, oh, I see that now. I'm aware of that now. And like, the life doesn't have to be that way. But it definitely takes a village. I wouldn't have gone out of these holes like without people around me, so including yourself. So not me about to cry. I've been crying for the last like 30 days out of a bunch of things, but
grieving, just releasing.
Yeah, lots of things, but yeah, it's a very like very direct and simple answer, honestly.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be that way.
Really, like the perception of, if you want it badly enough, you gotta do all this, and
you don't
persevere, and like, if you want it badly enough. But it's like, if you want it badly enough, you need to rest.
Yeah.
Like, if you want it badly enough, you need help. If you want it badly enough, like, why is it even about wanting something so badly anymore? Why is it like such desperateness? Because being desperate means that you do not have resources. It means that you're in it alone. It means that you're suffocating. It means that you're struggling, and like, that is so glamorized. But like, I know I've said this before, but those things are being said just because that's the only way that things have been done. But it doesn't mean that it's actually like not the only truth. And I wish for all of us that whenever we're striving for something, we understand that we all want it, and know that that vision and that desire in the heart isn't just there for no reason. It was probably planted there because it could be your future. And whatever faith and spirituality you believe in or not, it's like, that dream that you have, the goal that you have, the fire in your heart isn't just there for no reason. It was placed there for a reason, and know that you do not have to go after it alone. And whether it's with the help of other people or with the spirit and universe and God, whatever it is, like, trust that was planted there for a reason, and you were never meant to just do it alone. And trust that when you are resting, it is still being taken care of. And people always say that if you're meant to be, if that's your purpose, that's your calling, and like, you're meant to go for it, whatever, then if you're meant for something, doesn't that mean that like something else is out there working towards it with you? So I wish for all of us that like we can lean into that rest, or that trust, that does it really have to take so much painful sacrifice to like get to our dreams? Like, I don't believe that we were supposed to be miserable along the way. If we're working towards our dreams, I think that is supposed to be exciting and fun. Why are we voluntarily going on a ride that is so miserable? Why would you wouldn't do that in freaking Six Flags? Why are you doing it with your life? Why are we all doing it? That's like me, guys. I went to Universal for the first time and I was miserable because those rides are all, what is it called?
VR.
It's their screens, and I was nauseous because they're not like real roller coasters, and I prefer real roller coasters. And like I had to set a boundary. I said I'm about to throw up. It's giving me headaches, and I can't ride this ride anymore. Why can't we just do that with our lives?
It's skillful boundary setting. That's why it's upholding.
Hustle culture's a lie.
I'm pretty excited about the next 10 years to show that it is very possible to be abundant and to have fun and to do all these things and to be present.
In the next 10 years, we'll be married. One of us might have kids. One of us will be a doctor or have a doctorate. I just want to make a distinction. Have potentially houses.
Maybe. I don't know if I want a house. But
Living in Hawaii.
yes.
I like thinking about possibilities. I don't want to think about sacrifices anymore. Dang, good for me.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for listening, y'all.
Bye.
This is cute. This is cute.